Welcome to Bible Shorts, Episode 4. God tests Abraham. Welcome back. Today we're going to have a story that's probably one of the most difficult to understand in the entire Bible. I'm not kidding. And this is a story about God, Abraham and Sarah's son Isaac, who is now a young man. And God is going to test Abraham. Now he's going to ask Abraham to do something that sounds really scary and ridiculous and frightening. But don't worry. Nothing bad is going to happen to Isaac, even though it sounds like it is going to, okay? So one day, God speaks to Abraham again and says, "Abraham." And Abraham replies, "Here I am." God says, "I want you to take your son Isaac, the one you love, and go with him to the region of Moriah, and offer him as a burnt offering on the mountain I will show you." Right. Scary, right? Why on earth would God do this? Remember, this is just a test. Nothing is going to happen to Isaac. The only person who doesn't seem to know is Abraham. Oh, probably Isaac, too. What does Abraham do? He gets up early in the morning, saddles a donkey, cuts some wood, and takes two young men along with his son Isaac and heads off to the region of Moriah. And Abraham looks up on the third day and sees the hill that God is talking about and says to his young men, "You guys wait here, and my son and I will go and worship God, and we'll come back to you afterwards." And while Isaac and Abraham are climbing the hill, Isaac says, "Father?" And Abraham says, "Yes, my son." And Isaac said, "Well, we've got the wood and the fire, but where's the lamb for the sacrifice?" And Abraham replies, "God himself will provide the lamb for the sacrifice, my son." Okay. Well, they get up to the top of the hill. Abraham builds an altar out of stones, and then he puts the wood on top of the altar. Abraham ties Isaac up and puts him on top of the wood. Oh, scary, but remember, nothing bad's going to happen to Isaac. Abraham doesn't know it, though. So Abraham reaches out his hand. He's probably thinking, God has got to stop this, right? This is ridiculous. But nothing happens. So he picks up the knife. And at that very moment, an angel from heaven says, "Abraham, Abraham!" And he says, "Here I am." And God says, "Well, now I know how much you trust me. Don't lift up your hand against your son Isaac or hurt him at all." And Abraham raises his eyes and notices a ram with horns is stuck in a thicket nearby. Oh, God has provided a lamb for the sacrifice. And they offer up the ram as a burnt offering on the altar in wood in place of his son Isaac. Then God says to Abraham, "Because you've obeyed me and listened to my voice, remember, I am going to bless you. I am going to make your descendants as many as the stars in the heaven, and your offspring, your descendants, will cause the entire world to be blessed. because of what you have done. And this is the last words that God speaks directly to Abraham in his life on earth. Now there's silence. And Abraham and Isaac go down the hill, pick up the 2 servants and the donkey, and walk back home. End of story. And you're going, wow, this is such a strange story. So this is another reason that Jesus and the scribes and the Pharisees and the Apostle Paul and the New Testament all keep talking about Abraham. Because Abraham had an amazing faith and trust in God. And oh yeah, if this promise is going to go through Isaac's offspring, children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, etc., we better provide a wife for him, right? So look for episode 5, The Search for a Bride.